In this video, I will tell you what you need to know about Florida recently eliminating its commercial rent tax. I'm Santiago Cueto, board-certified international business law expert and best-selling author. Now, last month changed everything for business in Florida. It's because that marked the date of something that had existed for over 50 years. Florida was the only state in the entire country charging sales tax on commercial rent. Every business leasing office space, retail locations, or warehouses paid this tax on top of their monthly rent. Now that tax is completely gone. Governor Ron DeSantis signed House Bill 7031 into law back in June. The bill contained over $1 billion in tax relief, but the biggest piece was the complete elimination of what Florida called the business rent tax. This wasn't a small change. This elimination saves Florida businesses $2.5 billion every single year. So let me give you the history. Florida started taxing commercial rent back in 1969. The rate began at 4%. When the state's general sales tax increased to 5% and then 6%, the commercial rent tax followed that. Now, for decades, businesses in Florida paid 6% sales tax on their rent. No other state did this. Florida stood alone. The tax applied to more than just base rent. If you paid common area maintenance fees, those were taxed. Property management fees were taxed. Even when tenants paid property taxes or insurance on behalf of their landlords, Florida treated those payments as rent and taxed them too. Business owners complained about this for years. They argued it made Florida less competitive. They said it drove up operating costs. The legislature finally started listening in 2017. That year, they began a gradual reduction. The rate dropped from 6% to 5.8%. Then it went to 5.7%, then 5.5%. By 2023, it was down to 4.5%. Last year, in June of 24, it hit 2%. And now it's zero. Finally, the elimination happened at exactly the right time for many businesses. Florida has been attracting companies from other states. Major corporations have relocated their headquarters here. Thousands of small businesses have opened their doors, but they were still paying this unique tax that existed nowhere else in Florida. That competitive disadvantage is now gone. Here's what you need to understand about the timing. The law became effective October 1st. That means any rent for periods starting on or after October 1st is completely tax-free. No state tax, no local county surtax either. The bill eliminated both. But there's an important catch. Rent for periods before October 1st still requires sales tax, even if you pay that rent after October 1st. Let me give you an example. Say your September rent was due September 1st, but you paid it late in October. That September rent still gets taxed at the 2% rate. The tax applies based on when the rent was due, not when you actually paid it. Now, this creates some complexity for landlords. They need to update their billing systems. They need to stop charging tax on October rent, but they still need to collect tax on any past due amounts. They also need to file their final sales tax returns with the Florida Department of Revenue. The department will close out their accounts automatically if they have no other taxable activity. Now, if you're thinking this applies to everything you rent in Florida, hold on. The elimination only covers commercial real estate, office buildings, retail stores, industrial warehouses, manufacturing facilities. Those are all tax-free now. But some rentals are still taxed under different statutes. Short-term residential rentals with leases under 6 months still get taxed. Parking facilities still get taxed. Boat slips and docking facilities still get taxed. Self-storage units still get taxed. Hotels and motels obviously still get taxed, and vehicle storage gets taxed. The elimination specifically targeted commercial business leases. Now, if you're a business owner who likes this change and who wants to see more content about Florida business law, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss future updates that could save your business thousands of dollars. Now, the financial impact of this elimination is substantial. Think about a business leasing 10,000 square feet of office space in Miami. At $30 per square foot, that's $300,000 in annual rent. Under the old system, with a 2% sales tax and a 1% county surtax, that business paid $9,000 in rent tax every year. That's $9,000 that couldn't be used for hiring, couldn't be used for equipment, couldn't be used for employee raises. Now that $9,000 stays with the business. Multiply that across commercial leases in Florida, warehouses in Jacksonville, retail stores in Tampa, office buildings in Orlando, medical offices in Fort Lauderdale. The savings add up fast. $2.5 billion annually, according to the legislators' own estimates. For landlords, this change means less administrative burdens. They no longer need to track sales tax. They don't need to file monthly or quarterly sales tax returns for commercial rent. They don't need to worry about audits from the Department of Revenue on their rental income. The compliance costs drop significantly. But landlords need to be careful right now. They should review all their lease agreements. Many leases have language requiring tenants to pay all applicable taxes. After October 1st, sales tax is no longer applicable, but the lease language doesn't automatically change. Landlords should communicate clearly with tenants about the new structure. Some leases have automatic payment systems. Those systems need updates. If a tenant's bank is still automatically paying the old account, including tax, that creates problems. The landlord receives money they're not entitled to keep. The tenant overpays. Everyone needs to adjust their systems. New leases signed now should reflect the new reality. No sales tax provision. Some attorneys are adding language addressing what happens if Florida ever reinstates the tax. That's probably overly cautious. The political momentum strongly favors keeping this elimination permanent. But cautious drafting never hurts. Now, the Department of Revenue will likely issue more guidance before the end of the year. They typically publish technical advisements explaining how new laws work. Landlords and tenants should watch for those publications. They'll answer specific questions about edge cases and unusual situations. This elimination represents a massive shift in Florida tax policy. For over 50 years, the state treated commercial rent as a taxable service. That made Florida an outlier. Now Florida joins every other state in not taxing commercial leases. This makes the state more attractive for business expansion and relocation. Now, the legislature packaged this elimination with other business-friendly tax changes. The same bill eliminated taxes on aviation fuel starting next year. It created new sales tax holidays for back-to-school shopping, and it exempted various hurricane preparedness items from sales tax. Florida continues pushing to reduce the tax burden on businesses and families. Now, from a legal perspective, businesses should document this transition carefully. Keep records showing when the tax stopped being charged. Keep copies of communications with landlords about the change. If the Department of Revenue ever audits your business, you want clear documentation proving compliance with the law. And one final point, some counties had discretionary surtaxes on commercial rent. Those rates varied from 0.5% to 1.5% depending on the county. The bill eliminated those also, but it also gave counties new authority. This change is permanent unless the legislator decides otherwise in the future. But given the strong bipartisan support for elimination and the fact that Florida was alone in charging this tax, a reversal seems extremely unlikely. Businesses can plan with confidence that commercial rent will remain tax-free. Now, if this video helped you understand Florida's commercial rent tax elimination, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more updates on Florida business law. I'm Santiago Cueto, your Florida business attorney. Be sure to watch more of my videos right here.